The sun dipped low over the horizon, painting the sky in shades of coral, magenta, and gold. Antigua's gentle waves lapped against the sugar-white sand, sending tiny ripples of sparkling foam toward the shore. It was the kind of evening that demanded a deep breath, a moment to soak in the beauty before life whisked you away into chaos again. Mel Owens, dapper in a light linen shirt and khaki shorts, stood barefoot on the sand, feeling the cool grains between his toes. Beside him, the final two women in his heart's journey, the magnetic, sophisticated Clara and the warm, witty Fiona, both radiated excitement and nervous energy. They had flown across the globe to this Caribbean paradise, chasing a dream of love that millions had watched unfold on television. "Can you believe we're finally here?" Clara's voice carried a mix of awe and playful competition. She twirled slowly, letting the ocean breeze tease her sun-kissed hair. "This place is unreal, like something out of a painting." Fiona laughed, brushing sand off her shoulders. "It's gorgeous, but let's be honest. We didn't come here just for sunsets, did we?" Her eyes sparkled with a mixture of mischief and sincerity. "We came for Mel." Mel smiled, feeling the tension and anticipation in the air. The camera crews had left them a bubble of privacy tonight, a rare, intimate slice of the world where only the three of them existed. Yet, the weight of the upcoming decision lingered over him like the warm evening air. He had to make a choice, but the heart has its own timetable. Their villa overlooked a private cove, where turquoise waters shimmered and palm trees swayed rhythmically. As they walked among the beach, they found a small bonfire waiting for them, crackling softly as though it had been set there just for this moment. "Imagine," Clara whispered, kneeling by the fire. "This could be our last night together like this, before everything changes." Fiona tilted her head, her eyes reflecting the flames. "Or maybe the start of something even crazier. Love isn't supposed to be predictable, right?" Mel took a deep breath. He knew both women had captured pieces of his heart in ways he hadn't thought possible at this stage in his life. He had traveled the world, experienced success, adventure, and everything in between. Yet here he was, heart exposed under the Antigua sky. The night deepened, and the three of them sat close to the fire, the sound of waves punctuating their conversation. Stories were shared, laughter, confessions, and unspoken desires mingled in the air. But as the moon rose, a quiet tension settled over them. This was the moment every viewer had anticipated, the night where destiny would whisper its secrets. Clara reached for Mel's hand. "I don't want this night to end without saying how much you mean to me. No matter what happens, you've changed me." Fiona, not to be outdone by silence, leaned slightly closer. "I feel the same, Mel. And maybe that's the scariest and most wonderful part, admitting it." Mel's heart raced. Both women were remarkable in ways he couldn't quantify. He felt drawn to Clara's elegance, her sharp wit, her quiet strength. And yet Fiona's warmth, humor, and infectious energy had rooted themselves deeply in his soul. He was standing at a crossroads where love wasn't simple, and the stakes were unimaginably high. Suddenly, the distant sound of steel drums floated across the water. A local Antigua band had begun a private performance, seemingly conjured from the tropical night itself. Mel looked at the two women before him, the firelight dancing in their eyes, and realized that this night, this magical, improbable night, was a memory none of them would ever forget. "Dance with me," he said, standing and extending his hand. "Right here, under the stars." Clara's fingers brushed his, tentative but eager. Fiona followed suit, laughter bubbling from her lips. They moved together, three hearts beating in unison to a rhythm only they could hear. The fire crackled, the waves shimmered, and for a moment time stopped. In that dance, Mel felt the impossible, that love, in all its messy, complicated glory, could be both terrifying and exhilarating. Antigua wasn't just a backdrop, it was a witness to the choices of the heart, a silent observer of the last chapter of a journey millions had watched unfold on television screens worldwide. As the night deepened, secrets were revealed, confessions made, and choices hinted at, but the true climax, the moment of the final rose, was still to come. And, in Antigua, under that endless sky, anything
The
felt
next morning,
possible.
Antigua revealed a new side of itself. Sunlight poured over jagged cliffs and hidden coves, igniting the sea into sparkling aquamarine. Birds called out from the dense greenery, and the sweet scent of tropical flowers filled the air. It was the kind of place where every step felt like stepping into a dream. Mel, Clara, and Fiona had arranged for a private sailing excursion, a small yacht bobbing gently on the waves, ready to take them to Antigua's secret beaches. As they climbed aboard, the breeze tugged playfully at their hair, carrying with it the promise of adventure. "Did anyone else feel like we were characters in a romance novel last night?" Fiona asked, settling on the deck with a mischievous smile. "Or a movie," Clara added, scanning the horizon. "Antigua doesn't do subtle." Mel chuckled, sliding into the captain's chair with an air of mock authority. "Well, if this is a movie, I intend to make it memorable." He caught both their gazes, noting the spark in their eyes, Clara's precise elegance and Fiona's contagious energy. The yacht glided through hidden inlets, past cliffs draped in vines, and waterfalls that spilled into crystal-clear pools. They stopped at a secluded cove where the sand was impossibly soft and the water a hypnotic shade of turquoise. Here, Antigua felt untouched, secretive, a place where the world beyond the ocean might as well not exist. "I read that this cove was once used by pirates," Clara mused, brushing sand from her shoulders. "Imagine the stories these rocks could tell." Fiona laughed, twirling in the shallow waves. "Well, let's add a little drama of our own, shall we?" And indeed, Antigua obliged. As they explored the cove, Mel suggested snorkeling among the coral reefs. The underwater world opened up like another universe, rainbow-colored fish darting between coral towers, sea fans swaying gently in the current, and rays of sunlight filtering through the waves like golden shafts of magic. Mel held Fiona's hand as she hesitated at the edge of the water, a playful but genuine fear in her eyes. "Don't worry," he said softly, "I've got you." Clara, ever the adventurer in her own right, plunged in with a laugh, gracefully cutting through the water like a mermaid. The sight of her submerged form, serene and confident, made Mel's heart skip. Hours passed in this dreamlike state, and soon they retreated to a hidden waterfall nearby. The water cascaded into a jade pool, surrounded by lush greenery. Here, Clara and Fiona competed not in words, but in laughter and playful splashes. Mel couldn't help but be caught between them, each moment drawing him closer to a choice he dreaded yet yearned for. After their swim, the three of them dried under the sun, laying on beach towels as the gentle breeze dried their hair. Mel noticed something subtle. Clara had a way of tilting her head when she laughed, a quiet charm that pulled him in. Fiona's eyes, meanwhile, sparkled with a fearless joy that he had rarely experienced in his life. Two women, two different worlds, one heart. As evening approached, the villa prepared another unforgettable experience, a candlelit dinner on a cliffside overlooking the ocean. A path of lanterns led them to a table draped in white linen, adorned with orchids, and the soft glow of countless candles. The sound of waves crashing against rocks below created the perfect soundtrack. Mel raised a glass, his heart pounding in anticipation of the night's events. To Antigua, and to moments we'll never forget. Clara smiled, her eyes gleaming in the firelight. To moments that change everything. Fiona reached out, squeezing his hand gently, and to choices that might just make life more complicated, but better. The night deepened and Antigua revealed its magic again. A local musician began playing a haunting melody on a steel drum. Under the stars, Mel asked them to dance once more. This time, it wasn't playful, it was raw, intimate, and honest, hearts aligned in a rhythm that only the three of them could feel. As they danced, Mel realized that love isn't just about certainty, it's about the thrill of the unknown, the courage to choose someone despite the risk, and the willingness to let life's beauty wash over you, like the Antigua waves that sparkled under the moonlight. Suddenly, in the quiet between drum beats, both women stepped closer, whispering words that made Mel's chest tighten. Each declaration of affection was profound, each smile laden with possibility. The final rose, the symbol of a lifetime choice, was closer than ever. But Antigua had one more surprise in store, one last twist to make the heart's decision impossible to ignore. From the cliffs above, a soft glow illuminated a hidden path. A surprise awaited them. A secluded bonfire on the beach, larger than the last, with a hammock strung between palms and lanterns reflecting on the water like 1,000 tiny stars. It was Antigua's way of telling them that love, adventure, and fate were intertwined, and that the final decision was more than a rose. It was an experience that would define the rest of their lives. And so, as the three of them descended toward the beach, the stage was set for a night of confession, passion, and choices that would echo far beyond the shores of Antigua.
Night was alive with possibility. Lanterns flickered along the shoreline, casting golden reflections onto the gentle waves. The aroma of salt water mixed with tropical flowers, intoxicating and unforgettable. Mel led Clara and Fiona to the bonfire set deep in a hidden cove, a place so secluded it felt as though the island had created it just for this night. They sat in a circle, legs tucked into the sand, the fire between them crackling and dancing. For a while, they simply listened to the ocean, letting the sound of waves fill the silence. But silence in Antigua, under such intimacy, was never truly quiet. Hearts spoke louder than words here. Clara reached into her bag and pulled out a small journal. "I wrote some thoughts during the flight," she said softly. Her voice held a vulnerability that Mel hadn't heard before. "It's not easy to say, but I want you to know what I feel before tomorrow." Mel's chest tightened as he gestured for her to continue. Clara opened the journal and read, her words carefully chosen, yet emotionally raw. She spoke of admiration, of connection, of how Mel had opened parts of her heart she thought were closed forever. She spoke of dreams of a life together, adventures, quiet mornings, a love that was deep, steady, and filled with respect. Fiona, her eyes shimmering in the firelight, leaned closer. "I want to share too," she whispered, pulling a small seashell from the sand. "I wrote something as well. This shell, it reminds me of our first night on the beach, how everything felt magical, impossible, and yet here we are. I care about you more than I can say, Mel. You've made me feel alive in ways I didn't think were possible at this stage of life." Mel felt a rush of emotion. Two women, two hearts laid bare. The choice before him wasn't just about romance, it was about courage, vulnerability, and authenticity. Clara's love was a steady flame, unwavering and deep. Fiona's was a wildfire, passionate, joyous, and exhilarating. Both essential, yet only one path could be chosen. The night deepened. Mel stood, drawing a slow circle in the sand, looking from one woman to the other. "I've spent years searching, thinking I knew what love should look like. And now, here, with both of you, I realize love isn't neat. It's messy, it's thrilling, and it's terrifying. But it's real." Clara reached for his hand and intertwining her fingers with his. "We're not asking for perfection," she said softly. "Just honesty and presence. Just you."
Fiona took a step closer, placing her hand on his shoulder. Exactly that. Just you, Mal. Every laugh, every tear, every late-night conversation. That's what makes this real. That's what makes this love worth the risk. The waves crashed gently behind them, a natural symphony that underscored the gravity of the moment. Mel closed his eyes, letting the sounds, the feelings, the sheer magic of Antigua wash over him. This was more than a reality show finale. It was a defining moment, a memory carved into the heart forever. Suddenly, the soft glow of torches illuminated a new arrival, a local Antigua storyteller, emerging from the shadows. He carried a small lantern and a ukulele, his presence as enchanting as the island itself. "The island speaks to those ready to hear," he said, his voice low and melodic. "Tonight, love and destiny walk hand in hand. Listen." He began to sing, the melody weaving through the night like a spell. Each note echoed across the cove, bouncing off cliffs and mingling with the sounds of the ocean. Mel felt his chest swell with emotion as the music wrapped around him, around Clara, and around Fiona. It was a song of Antigua, of courage, passion, and hearts daring to choose. Time seemed suspended. Under the canopy of stars, Mel faced a truth he couldn't ignore. Love was not about fear or strategy or pleasing anyone but his own heart. It was about authenticity, trust, and daring to step into the unknown. As the final notes faded, the women drew closer, each waiting, each vulnerable. Mal took a deep breath and picked up a single rose, the symbol of his decision. The sand beneath them felt sacred, the night alive with anticipation. Antigua had witnessed countless sunsets, countless lovers, but this night felt extraordinary, singular, and eternal. Clara, Fiona, both of you have changed my life, and both of you have my heart in different, wonderful ways. But tonight, I have to follow the path my heart knows is true. The fire crackled as he knelt, rose in hand, and looked at each woman. The moment stretched, full of possibility, tension, and undeniable magic. The waves whispered against the shore, the stars blinked as if urging him forward. And in that instant, everything, every step, every conversation, every laugh, every tear, led him to the choice that would define the rest of his life.
The Antigua night air was thick with anticipation. The waves whispered secrets to the shore, as if the island itself knew the significance of this moment. Mel held the single rose in his hand, its petals glowing softly in the firelight. Clara and Fiona stood before him, hearts pounding, eyes shimmering with expectation. "Mel," Clara began, her voice barely above a whisper, "whatever you decide, I want you to know—" She stopped, tears glinting in the corners of her eyes. "You've made every moment here unforgettable." Fiona stepped forward, her usual playful spark softened by raw emotion. "And I feel the same. But I need to know, not just with your words, but with your heart." Mel's chest tightened. Every fiber of his being yearned to hold both of them, to split himself in two. But love demanded clarity, courage, and truth. He inhaled the fragrant night air, letting Antigua's magic infuse him with courage. He turned to Clara first, then Fiona, his gaze lingering on each. "Clara, Fiona, both of you are extraordinary. You've challenged me, inspired me, and made me laugh harder than I thought possible at this stage of my life. But my heart knows where it belongs." He knelt in the sand, the rose held high, the fire reflected in the waves and in the women's eyes. Time seemed to stretch as the universe held its breath. "Clara," he said finally, "you have a soul that shines with elegance, strength, and grace, and you've shown me a love that's steady, deep, and unwavering. But Fiona—" He turned to her, taking her hand gently.
Fiona's joy, her light, her laughter. She makes life feel like an adventure every single day. And I realize I want that adventure. I want her by my side. Fiona gasped softly, a mixture of shock and joy lighting her face. Mel extended the rose toward her, heart thundering. Fiona, will you accept this final rose and the journey of our lives together? Tears welled up in Fiona's eyes, and she nodded, voice trembling with happiness. Yes, Mel, yes! She threw herself into his arms, and they held each other as the Antigua night seemed to cheer around them, waves crashing like applause, lanterns flickering, stars twinkling as witnesses to the moment. Clara, ever graceful, smiled through her tears. She stepped forward and kissed Mel gently on the cheek. "You've made the right choice," she whispered. "Go, live this love fully. It's beautiful, and it's yours." Her words were full of dignity, acceptance, and even a hint of bittersweet relief. As Mel and Fiona embraced, Antigua's magic seemed to wrap around them, turning the cove into a private paradise just for two. They walked hand in hand along the beach, the soft sand cushioning each step, the moonlight painting silver streaks on the waves. The island offered them more treasures: a private dinner in a natural cave hidden behind cascading vines, where fireflies danced like tiny stars, a morning horseback ride along the shoreline, hooves splashing in the shallow waves as laughter echoed into the horizon, and snorkeling in secret coves, discovering fish in dazzling shades of sapphire and gold, as if the sea itself celebrated their union. Days melted into nights in Antigua's tropical embrace, each moment more breathtaking than the last. They danced under the stars, kissed beneath waterfalls, and shared quiet mornings sipping coffee on their private veranda, listening to the symphony of the ocean. Every detail felt cinematic, every heartbeat synchronized with the rhythm of the island. Mel realized that this wasn't just a love story captured on television. It was an adventure, a dream made real, a testament to the beauty of taking risks for the heart. Antigua wasn't just a backdrop, it was a character in their story, a magical witness to their laughter, their tears, and the blossoming of true love. And while the world watched from afar, Mel and Fiona experienced something far beyond the reach of cameras or scripts, the kind of love that lingers long after the credits roll, a love as vast, colorful, and unforgettable as Antigua. As they sat together on the beach for the final night of their journey, waves lapping gently at their feet, Mel whispered, "We live in a beautiful world, Fiona, and somehow we found each other in it." Fiona leaned against him, eyes closed, a contented smile spreading across her face. "I know, Mel, and I'll never take this for granted, not for a single moment." Above them, the stars twinkled in agreement. Antigua, eternal and magnificent, had witnessed the choice of a lifetime, and in return had gifted a love story for the ages.